Yo, what up, Wolfpack? This the Blind Wolf, and we back at it again. I'd like to thank everybody that subscribe, like, share, comment on these videos. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. All right, come on, Wolfpack, let's go on this journey. We're going to skip a little bit past this prison stuff to around about the time when I first came home, because it's been really like on my mind. Now, a lot of the stuff that I went through while I was in prison, yeah, that stuff was devastating, but to actually come home to the streets and find out that being on the streets is worse than being in prison, man, that's something serious to deal with. Like, that's something serious to deal with for a person in my particular situation. Because, sliding back into prison for a little second, into the time that I was in prison, I actually had people that looked out for me in there. If I was in my cell or something, I always had a bunch of good bunk buddies. Even when I got into an argument here and there, it was something that was indoors, something that was just words, but I never really got into fights and stuff with my bunk buddy. Just one, and I'm gonna talk about that one later on. But when I get out here on the street, everybody want to play games. Everybody, take your disability, for a joke. Now, before I even got my blind cane, my white cane, I was literally walking around with my hand out in front of me, feeling around just to be able to get from point A to point B. Now, when I first came home, I came home to a family member's house. And this family member, and this just goes to show you, how far trust can go. This family member had a letter from their rental office, talking about things that they were doing before I came home, months before I came home. And then when I actually came home, they tried to make it seem like I was the reason that they were about to be evicted from their place. But then I had my nephew read the letter to me and come to find out that the information was given to this particular family member of mine months before I even came home. 2.5 months, should I say, before I came home. But then this person actually used this as a reason to say why they were getting put out and I had to leave immediately. So from that point, now I'm blind. I'm homeless. I'm walking around with my hand in front of me, and I don't even know how to cross the street. I'm terrified of crossing the street. I haven't gone to school to learn how to do none of this stuff yet. I can't see the vehicles going past me. I can hear them. And I'm not willing to take that step out there. And every now and then you'll run across somebody that'll be like, "You all right? You need some help?" And I'll be like, "Look, I'm blind. I cannot see to get across the street. I just came home from prison. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just trying to get to this bus stop so that I can try to get X, Y, and Z." And, every now and then God bless me, with somebody to come along and help when I really needed it. But he also allowed me to go through some tough times and learn how to deal with these situations and learn how to use, the curb line, the grass line, to stay on the sidewalk and use my elbows and my forearms and stuff, to, hit stuff that's in front of me or on the side of me so that I don't walk into it. And this is stuff that I'm doing when I first came home before I even had a white cane walking the streets of Baltimore. Walking the streets of Baltimore. My nephew would meet up with me a lot, and he would walk around with me, and I would hold on to his shoulder, and he would guide me where I needed to be guided. But mind you, he in school. So I'm only linking up with him after school or on the weekends, and my nephew really had my back as opposed to a lot of other family members that kind of like left me out there for the wolves to do whatever they wanted to do to me. But fortunately, I'm a different breed. I'm blessed by God to have been blessed not to be harmed out here. I've had many different people try to do some crazy stuff to me since I've been blind. Stuff that has never happened to me when I could see, but things that have happened to me, since I came home from prison and I couldn't see was just traumatic. And most of it come from me not having somebody in my corner like that. And truth be told, a lot of people don't understand that when you lose your eyesight, you kind of become dependent on people for a lot of things, to fill out paperwork, to help you to get from A to Z, to help you shop. When you have different disabilities, I'm not discrediting them at all. I'm not discrediting them at all, but you still have the ability to say what you want. Oh no, that wasn't there. This wasn't here. When you can't see, you have people lying to you about everything, and then they think this stuff is funny. And the whole time, none of this stuff is funny. None of this stuff is funny. If I know that I set a cup on the table, and then I go to come back to get that cup, knowing that this is a blind person's, vicinity, home, whatever. Why go and touch that person's stuff, and then when they go to look for it, you say that you never seen it? And then say later on down the road to somebody else, and mind you, from the schooling that I've gone through, I've actually learned how to listen real well. And I'm gonna say this real quick, because contrary to most people's belief, that saying that when one sense dies, other senses get better, that is a lie from the pit of hell. That is a lie from the pit of hell. You learn how to deal with different things. You learn how to pay attention to what you can't see. You learn how to listen deeper so that you can hear stuff that most people aren't really listening for. Like, you can hear stuff, but you're not listening. When you blind, you really listening. You really listening. You're paying attention like I don't know what. So it's a messed up saying, that people come out with that, when one sense goes, other senses get stronger. Nah, none of that ever happened for me. None of that ever happened for anybody that I know that has lost their eyesight. They just had to learn how to deal with their situations. But as I was saying, dealing with this loss of connection with my family and my associates, because now I'm asking for help, and it seems like I'm asking for help a little too much. So that's pushing people away. And it's not that I'm trying to push nobody away. It's I can't see what's going on. This is one of the hardest things in the world to deal with, because eventually over time you might find one or two people that will tolerate being around you for a long period of time. You might have somebody that's sexually attracted to you that put a lot of that stuff to the side, but even over time with these people, they get tired of doing stuff, being there to help you if you can't see. It's not one person that I know that's visually impaired or blind that has not had somebody that was supposed to have been close to them say, all right, I'm going to be your eyes for you. And then when it really comes down to you coming back and forth asking like, all right, what this say? Or can you help me with this? I just got something from somebody. It's on an electronic keyboard. I can't read this stuff. There's no braille for these things. And everybody don't have money for expensive equipment to be able to go out and buy all this high-end Apple stuff for, I'm not even going to say Apple, but I'm going to say computer technology for disabled people. But one thing for sure and two things for certain, that Apple phone is awesome. That Apple phone helps out in so many different ways. It's not even funny. Kudos to Apple. I appreciate y'all. But everybody don't have money for that. Everybody can't pay an iPhone bill every month. Some people are living off of social service. And that's a very poor living. You're not going to be able to, sustain an iPhone and all that stuff off of that little bit of money. You can barely eat. And you still got to get your prescriptions and all these other things. Life gets extremely difficult with these disabilities, and especially with something like mine that came on out the blue, and then I had to learn how to live as a blind person immediately. immediately. Now, when I was in the penitentiary, I had my brothers and stuff that would be there to help me out here and there. And it was so many of them, it wasn't like I was being a burden on nobody like that, because I had a community of people that I could go to at the drop of a dime, and they were willing and wanted to do this stuff. But now when I get home on the street, if I even go to talk about being blind, it seems like, to me, people think that you're looking for a pity party, but you're not looking for a pity party. You're looking for people to understand, like, I really can't see to do some of the things that you might be able to do. We may have different things going on. I might have an extreme problem with, my digestive system. I might have extreme arthritis. Anything. I'm not discounting any of these things, but you can still see to sign something. You can still see to make sure that what someone is signing for you, if you're unable to sign, is still correct. I got to put my trust in everything that people tell me, and don't really know for sure whether or not what you're telling me is true. This is an extremely difficult way to have to continue through life, not knowing who you can really trust. And most of the time, it's a lot of the people that say that they love you are the ones that make you feel like, I can't trust you. Because for me, it was a lot of family. It was a lot of close friends that all of a sudden, out the blue, now that I can't see like that, now that I'm not making money out here in these streets like that, y'all start dropping off the mat. But when I could see, my phone never stopped ringing. When I had, illegal activities going on, I was the life of the party. I was invited everywhere. All of the clubs. Y'all want to be there. Now, when somebody loses their eyesight, they can't even get legal representation like that, let alone, a friendship. Because when you go down, to the courthouse or something, you need somebody to be able to sign these things. When you go inside the courthouse, they will let you know these are legal documents. We do not sign legal documents for people. We will not help you to sign legal documents. You have to come in there already prepared for these things on your own. And who's to say you got money for this stuff when you already in a situation where you looking for help? And who's to say that the people that you actually asking to come and help you are going to help you in the right way? They're going to be really focused on doing the things that you need done. They might be rushing and just put stuff anywhere and not really care, because it's not really their situation. Your situation is your situation. But if you blind, you need somebody that you can be able to trust and be able to go to and say, hey, I really need somebody in my corner. I really need somebody in my corner. And I done seen so much treachery, that just makes me not want to trust anything since I've been home on these streets. And it's so sad that you can't even really hold a conversation with somebody and they actually feel sympathy and empathy in their heart. In my opinion, for the majority of the people that I've run across, very few have a different, way of handling, people with, something going on with them, a disability, something mental, just a deep conversation. Very few have that sympathy and empathy that where you can talk to them and they feel what's going on with you. They actually want to give you some sound advice. But when you're disabled and you can't see, you taking the word of what people saying. You only really trust what you trust by feel, because you know that that's right there. Everything else is just, it could be true. It could be true. I've had people say, no, watch out, there's something right there. And then I ask somebody, there ain't nothing right there. Like, what kind of games is people out here playing, man? This is people's mental that we toying with. We got to stop this. It's a whole world of people out here that are so distrusting to regular society that it's not even funny. It's not even funny. And I'm not saying this to discredit anything that anybody else has going on. But when you're blind, visually impaired, things are just a little different in that particular disability. In that particular disability. And all I'm saying is if you see somebody out there that's visually impaired or blind, please take it into consideration that these people have been scarred deeply. I've been scarred deeply, but I'm still out here trying. I'm not going to let nothing stop me from still having that humanity inside me, and I don't want anything to try to stop me from having that humanity inside me. Because I know that it's something special out there for me. I'm supposed to be out here, spreading this, because this is something that most people aren't even going to really talk about like that. Because it's hard to talk about. Who wants to talk about somebody that's being seemingly tortured throughout their life? Because you don't really trust anything that's going on. You need 3 and 4 different confirmations, and if they don't add up to each other, then you know something is wrong. This is a horrible way of living. This is a horrible way of living. But this is the life that I'm living right now. Not just with family, but with anybody. I can have businesses, the company that I work for, employees, just lie. Because it's funny to see somebody go through something, but it's not funny when you're going through it. I don't get that humor. I don't get that humor at all. And if it's just something subconscious with people, then that's something that's deep inside of you. That's something that we need to work on as a people. We actually need to get out here and get involved and look at some of the lives of people with some of these disabilities that are unable to do certain things. You think that it's easy to be walking around with a cane of any sort? To be riding around in a wheelchair and you want to get up and do what everybody else is doing? These things are not fun. It is extremely hard to live life as a person with a disability, and you have people that try to make life harder for you. We got to do better than this. And I can promise you this, none of this is going to stop me. None of this is going to stop me. If anything, it's going to make me want to spread this information just that much more on how important it is that we connect as a society. How important it is that we actually show that our growth from what our ancestors went through wasn't in vain. How dare we turn on our own that are weaker, the weaker part of our societies? This is a sick mentality. And this is something that needs to be addressed on a regular basis so that it becomes a part of the mindset that people with disabilities are here just like everybody else. They're not here to be tortured. They're not here to be played with. They're not here to be made and ridiculed because of their disabilities. If anything, lend a helping hand. Be somebody, somebody's crutch. Help pull somebody up. Stop trying to push people down. It's tough enough out here. It's tough enough out here. You got people that can't even get jobs because they're disabled. They have to live the most mediocre life. And this is all things that I had to really learn when I came home from prison. Immediately. $180 a month, $185 in food stamps. That's what I was given to live off of. Until I was able to actually go to school and learn how to use a cane, and I actually got a little bit more from them people to live off of than I was actually getting from the state. It's wicked out here, y'all. It's wicked. It's real wicked. And the crazy part about it is, with most other disabilities, you don't actually have to go to school to relearn how to do everything, to learn how to write in a different way. When you're blind, you got to learn how to do all that stuff all over again, and it's way harder. It's way harder. It's way harder to read in Braille than it is to read with just the letters. Keep it in your mind that when a person has these eye situations, it's different. It's just different. I don't really know how much more to explain it. And like I said, I'm not trying to exclude or downplay nobody else's, situations, nobody else's pains or whatever. But when you can't see, you literally depend on everything that is told to you. So remember what I tell y'all about them 5 P's. Proper planning prevents poor performance. If you actually lose your eyesight, there are places out here that you can go to help you to learn how to live as a human being again. You can learn how to wash your clothes. You can learn how to figure your stuff out. You can learn how to write again. You can learn how to read again. You can learn your money. Trust me, ain't nobody getting over on me with no money. But yeah, you can do all of these things, and we don't have to be sitting on the back burner. I watch blind people run a whole building. It drove me. It made me want to get out here and do more. It made me say that there is no excuse to not try. I may not have all the opportunities that everybody else has, but I'm not going to keep hearing no. There has to be a yes for me somewhere up in here. And me, I'm going to keep on going. And that's what I want to get across to y'all. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't let nothing break you from prospering. One person's setback is not a reason to quit everything in life. It's not. One little step back is not a reason to quit everything in life. Y'all getting this big love from the Blind Wolf, like, and this real talk coming from my life. This is what I live on a regular basis. Big love. Blind Wolf in the building. And I want y'all to understand something. Difficulties strengthen the mind as does labor strengthen the body. I work out a lot. I like to read a lot of Stoic knowledge. And this stuff helped to keep me from being a little cuckoo in my brain. Because last year around this time, your boy was off the chain in the brain. I'll keep prayers up for these people out here with these disabilities, because you be surprised what they really have going on inside of their life. And don't do nothing to make stuff harder for them. Big love, Wolf.